On the podcast this week, we talked about stories we tell, economic narratives that turn into myths and legends and ultimately drive policy. One small example we gave that speaks to the danger of misinformation in the modern age and plays into the theory of myths and legends can be found in an exchange between Bill Maher and Bernie Sanders. UNFTR. In case you missed it, take a look at this quick exchange between Maher and Sanders talking about student debt relief, where Bill Maher cites a recent poll. Take a look.
So I just want to read you this. Again, this is against why people sometimes, I think, question some of what you're saying. This is a survey, student loan forgiveness recipients. 73% of applicants say they are likely to spend their extra money on non-essential, including vacations, smartphone, drugs, and alcohol. They admitted that to the pollster.
Who is this pollster?
NBC News.
All right, so we recently covered student debt on the channel, so my feelings about forgiveness and the need to actually overhaul the entire system and refinance public and private debt are pretty well documented. But what Maher does here deserves some pushback and attention because it's part of a bigger trend in our media culture today. The point Maher is trying to make is that Americans, especially young ones, aren't responsible with money. They don't deserve giveaways, as he calls them. Tax breaks for the wealthy, forgiveness of PPP loans, amnesty to onshore trillions of dollars hidden offshore, those are responsible giveaways and handouts because they're for job creators. But money in the hands of the average American will just be spent on consumables and entertainment, food, drugs, appliances, and general foolishness. First off, even if this was the case, which it's not, and I'll get to that in a moment, he's literally prescribing things that reflect a healthy consumer economy. God forbid people buy weed, go to the movies, dine out, and travel. Not to mention the man literally hosts an online show where he smokes weed and talks about movies, food, and traveling. More to the point, that's not what the average American spends or would spend discretionary income on. Not even close. So obviously, I was as curious as you heard Bernie was in that clip. Where did Bill Maher even get this information? Now, he says at the end that it was from NBC, but that's not the pollster, which was Bernie's question. Well, I tracked it down. It was a real poll conducted in October of 2022 by a private company. Not a polling company, a private digital content company that creates contact aggregation websites and has about 3 employees as far as I can tell. And those 3 employees are technically employed by a parent company that matches other companies with private equity. Now, they are transparent with their methodology, and here's what it says at the end of the survey results. It was an online poll conducted on a survey platform called Pollfish. 1,250 Americans participated in the poll, and to qualify, respondents had to truthfully answer that they aren't currently students, but had applied or planned to apply to the loan forgiveness program. So 1,250 people responded to a poll on Pollfish, conducted by a company that doesn't do polling, and these completely unscientific results made it into Bill Maher's big plan to catch Bernie off guard, out of his mouth and into the right-wing media echo chamber. Here's Dave Rubin, for example, keying in on this exact point.
Student debt, that's another thing. He wants to wipe out student debt because it's part of social justice, because black lesbians are in debt, and we've got to do something about it. Bill Maher wrecks him on that.
Here's a channel called The Black Conservative Perspective commenting on the same segment.
Their argument is that students are struggling, okay? They're not able to buy houses, okay? They're not able to invest. They're not able to participate in the economy because they are being saddled with this student loan debt, which, according to that survey, is not true.
I don't know who else covered these facts this way, but just these 2 clips alone have more than 500,000 views already. One of the bigger conservative think tanks, Americans for Tax Reform, quoted the survey directly in an article with the headline, quote, "Student loan bailout applicants will spend more on vacation, drugs, and gambling," end quote. And you know that this think tank is emailing this article to everyone in DC. And now it's in the ether, all because Bill Maher is apparently too lazy to think about this stuff for himself. Any self-respecting pundit would have questioned the veracity of a poll that made such wild claims. It's why Bernie looked at him like he had 3 heads. Of course, Maher isn't a pundit or a journalist. He's a comedian with an entertainment show. but we've lost the ability to discern between news and entertainment. And this plays into the larger destructive narrative, and that's the idea that Americans are not trusted by those in charge to responsibly manage disposable income, that in order to maintain balance in the economy, a few million need to be unemployed, and the vast majority of us are to live paycheck to paycheck so that we don't accumulate enough spending power and freedom to move about the job market in search of something better. You see it among the economic pundit class, personified by Larry Summers, who squarely lays inflation at the feet of workers who quit their jobs en masse during the pandemic, or opted to move about the country to work remotely. Now they're pushing the idea that workers are killing the corporate real estate market because they refuse to return to the office. Instead of admitting that wages have been suppressed in this country for more than 40 years and commercial landlords hiked corporate rents to the stratosphere because of favorable refinancing and capital withdrawal conditions, workers have been blamed for everything from rent to the price of eggs. We know it isn't true. The data support the working class and not the pundits, and yet the narrative persists. When impoverished Americans received direct payments for child support instead of credits to be applied later, it lifted millions of children out of poverty within months. Real polling and data from reputable sources showed that Americans spent excess income catching up on rent, paying down debt, and buying food. Household debt recently topped $17 trillion, and credit card debt rose again in 2022 after coming down during the pandemic when people used funds to pay down debt. What Americans want more than anything is to get hold of their outstanding obligations and get a little breathing room. But entertainers like Bill Maher just keep contributing to the false narrative that we're all too irresponsible. And for a libertarian-minded person like Maher, the level of hypocrisy is stunning. Or maybe not. Either way, it's disappointing. Here endeth the lesson.